Rasmus Hojlund has quietly gone and staked his claim as Manchester United's starting centre forward for years to come. He's definitely not quiet anymore, and Højlund's season has actually really started to kick into gear after scoring his 10th goal of the season at the weekend. Now, 10 goals from 20-ish games, it's not a bad return, especially for the length of time that he went without scoring a single goal. He just quietly picked up the numbers. And you'd be pretty happy with that return, especially for a striker of this age. Let's look into maybe what's changed for him. Now, a lot of Premier League fans wrote off Højlund before he even kicked a ball for United. And that's the nature of a United signing. It comes with just ridiculous amounts of pressure. But it does feel like the tide is changing with Rasmus, and for good reason. It took him a while to get going, but the early signs in the Champions League were already there. He scored 10 goals this season, 5 in the Champions League, 4 in the Premier League, 1 in the FA Cup. 3 of his 4 Premier League goals have an XG of less than 0.3, and those 3 goals were completely made by himself. A different way to assess just how clinical Højlund has been is by looking at the expected goals on target. Expected goal on target adds on to expected goals by analysing the quality of the shot based on where it ends up. So if the ball goes top bins, it rates that chance even higher. For Højlund, his expected goals on target compared to his XG were as follows. Against West Ham, we're looking at 0.11 versus expected goals on target being 0.23. For Wolves, 0.79, with expected goals on target being 0.99. You can see the difference there against Newcastle and even the difference there against Tottenham. So what's changed? I don't think it's as easy as saying Højlund has suddenly put his shooting boots on. Not even a week ago, we were all complaining about the lack of chance creation from our wingers, and it's still a problem. I think it's slightly improved against West Ham, but it's still an obvious problem for Højlund. But he's getting the goals now. I think West Ham and Wolves were big turning points for him. I think you have to look at the way that we are starting to set up from a tactical point of view. And you could argue even that there's been a bit of a tactical breakthrough as it appears Højlund drops into the pockets of space that maybe a 10 would traditionally occupy. And maybe it's just what we sort of said, oh man, a few weeks ago when we started to see Menu and Casemiro coming into the team alongside Varane and Martinez. Maybe that quartet gives a little bit more structure to the team, and maybe we now see Bruno that little bit higher, and maybe that's going to help result in... This is a team sport that people forget about, and Erik ten Hag is very much a system manager. So when he can't put his system in place, the system is going to be dysfunctional. So the tactical breakthrough might be that he's occupying in slightly different positions. It might be that he's playing with a better structure in behind him, which is then going to enable him to get more opportunities. Now, I still think we're missing a little bit of control, but we are seeing Bruno Fernandes a little bit higher up, once again granted the license to roam and linger in those higher and open spaces, and things aren't rigid. The fullbacks are successfully inverting, and the ball is moving in between the lines with a lot more intention. And the impact of this is that the team's tactical cohesion is increasing. It's not perfect. As I said, last couple of games, I still thought we lacked a little bit of control. But one of the end results that we are seeing is Højlund gets into space more than he has done at the start of the season. And opposition are beginning to struggle with who do you focus their attention on, because now Højlund is a big goal-scoring threat who's got to be monitored. You're going to start to see Rashford and Garnacho given more opportunity because they're not going to be double-marking them guys. They're going to have to deal with a big fella in the middle. And it all has a massive domino effect, and that's the thing with this United side. For everything to work perfectly, it all has to work. And when one piece comes out, everything falls apart. Now, of course, the question has to be asked, well, what's the ceiling? What's his ceiling? What's this team's ceiling? Because we all look at this and we go, okay, I think we can get a bit of a tune out of this team, but can it compete with Manchester City? I think we'd all argue that it probably can't. Now, the question for Rasmus hasn't been answered yet. We don't know what his ceiling is. Could he finish the season with another 10 goals? It's only like another couple a month. I think he could. And at this point in the season, 10 goals, 2 assists should be considered quite impressive for a striker that's just turned 21. You know, all of them goals pretty much came as a 20-year-old. Stepping into the Premier League with the pressure of being United's centrepiece in attack, that's not easy. But it's genuinely quite exciting to see that Højlund is finally reaching the sort of potential and expectation that we thought of him when we signed him. And it seems to have just clicked for him. Maybe it's the pressure coming off. Maybe it's the pressure being alleviated because he started to score a couple of goals. We have to keep providing for him, and he will keep providing for us. And hopefully this setup remains consistent, and then we can improve and add to it, and maybe he can then build on that and start getting closer to being, a genuine 1 in 2, and then maybe a genuine 2 in 3 striker. I don't think, asking anybody to be a 1 in 1 striker is even remotely realistic. I mean, even 2 in 3 is still a little bit giddy. But hopefully this isn't just a purple patch, because he's actually still not taking a shitload of shots. He's still being quite clinical with it. The need is for Højlund to maintain and continue with what he's done already. And I think if he does that, this run could extend for another few weeks before we start to see it burn out. The structure has to remain in place behind him. The wingers need to continue to remember to create for him first rather than going for themselves. And if we continue to see that, I think this guy will continue to deliver goals from us, because from a technical point of view, when you watch him, he's got it. Anyway, that's my thoughts on what's just changed for Rasmus Hojlund. We only had a very small sample size to go off with what he'd done in Denmark and what he'd done in Italy, but I thought that sample size shown flashes of quality. And then those flashes of quality are always going to be quite difficult to see, certainly immediately at United. There was definitely going to be a settling-in period. The pressure of playing for Manchester United as, our marquee signing number 9, especially when there is nobody else to take the pressure off. It's, guess what, are you fit? You're starting. You never get a night off to sit with the manager while we're playing and him go, so, there, you see that run that he made? Right, see this here? He's gone a bit early there, maybe delay it. Can we maybe double movement and go to the front post? None of that opportunity. Now, he might be getting to do that in training. He might be sitting with, I hope he's sitting with Benny McCarthy, and they're looking at his tape and they're saying, here's where we move, here's where we stay, here's where we, look like we're going to go and then open up some space for your body. I hope he's doing that sort of stuff. But the pressure of, he's probably played when he's not been 100% fit as well. The pressure of playing for Manchester United is something that we will unfortunately never know or understand. But it must be significant. And the signs were there early doors. Like we said, what he did in the Champions League was no accident. The kid can play football. That's never been in doubt. Now let's see where we can go with him. The team, the structure, the wingers providing for him, he will score your goals. Simple as. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.